how important do you think it has been for America that, at his age and stage, he was prepared to go into a war zone and do and say what he did?
Well, I think certainly he delivered a political message of unstinting support for Israel. That's what he wanted to do. It's what Prime Minister Netanyahu wanted. I've been racking my brain to think of any other occasion where a president has gone into a war zone, giving advance notice to the potential adversaries that he's coming, and coming not in some gray cargo plane with the U.S. Air Force markings that they can't tell what's in it, coming in Air Force One into Ben Gurion Airport. I think when he leaves the missile range of both Hezbollah and Hamas, a lot of Secret Service and U.S. military will breathe a lot easier. The real question was whether he had an alternative agenda to try and slow down the Israeli incursion. I don't think it will succeed. I think at this point, with the president out of the airspace, the Israelis could go as soon as tonight, Middle East time.
And, of course, the hospital attack meant that President Biden was unable to talk to the Jordanians, the Egyptians, and others in the region.
That's true. That represents a missed opportunity for everybody, I think, a bit of a blow to the president. That's what you get for trying to arrange things hastily. In a political judgment, if anybody had asked me, which they didn't, I wouldn't have sent Biden into this situation. I follow the Jim Baker rule when he was Ronald Reagan's chief of staff, which is the president never loses. And I don't think really anything has come out of this other than the photo opportunity. I'm not saying that the political signal wasn't a strong one, but I think there may have been other ways to send it.
You mentioned earlier on Iran, and of course everybody around the world is waiting to see what Iran is actually going to do. There's been some very aggressive words from Iran, and now this evening from Lebanon as well, but neither Hezbollah nor Iran itself have actually moved forward to get involved themselves.
Well, we don't know yet. We don't know what the strategy being followed here is, but I have no doubt that Hamas would not have acted on October the 7th without the Iranian blessing. Now, maybe political leaders in Iran didn't know, maybe political leaders in Hamas didn't know, because the real actors here are the Revolutionary Guards in Iran and the military wing of Hamas. So political leaders may have been surprised, but that's not where the game is. The question is whether this is the Iranian ring of fire strategy, as they call it, conceived by the now departed Qasem Soleimani to put pressure on Israel and its Arab friends all around its periphery. I think we'll find out when we see Hezbollah and Iran's reaction if Israel goes into the Gaza Strip in the next few days.
Now, if Hezbollah does attack Israel from the north, how close do you think that makes the United States and Iran engaging directly themselves?
Well, my view is that Iran has already engaged Israel. I think what happened on October 7th was an Iranian attack on Israel through its agent, through its surrogate, Hamas. I think the fact that Biden has sent 2 aircraft carrier battle groups to the Eastern Mediterranean, the Ford and the Eisenhower, indicates he wants military power available to protect Israel or whatever the case may be, and as a signal to Iran not to mess around. The key judgment is, do the mullahs in Tehran think that Biden is going to fold on this or not? If they think they see weakness, I'm very worried it could escalate further.
And while you've got those 2 carrier fleets just off the coast of Israel, in your view, does that make it virtually impossible for Hezbollah to mount a successful attack on Israel?
Well, no. I mean, I think they could cause enormous damage. Hamas so far has fired about 5,000 missiles into Israel, an incredible number when you think of it. It's put an enormous burden on on Israel's missile defense system. Estimates of Hezbollah's missile arsenal range up to 150,000 missiles. Now, even if it's not that high, it's far greater than what Hamas had. And some of them are Iran's more sophisticated missiles capable of hitting Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. So there could be high civilian casualties in Israel, notwithstanding the U.S. presence there.
I think everybody is worrying about the possibility of this escalating into a major regional and perhaps more than regional war. What needs to be done, in your view, to ensure that does not happen?
Well, I'm not sure we can ensure it won't happen. I think Israel is entitled to strike back at Hamas, not just in retaliation for the attack, but to eliminate the threat. People are allowed to try to live in peace and security. And I think until Hamas and Hezbollah are eliminated, Israel can't do that. And at the same time, look, I think Al Haig, former Secretary of State, used to say, go to the source. And the source of this instability and threat in the Middle East is in Tehran. So I think you'll have peace in the Middle East, or a chance for peace, when there's a new government in Tehran. And if the Iranians want to force this on Israel, I think Bibi Netanyahu is just the prime minister to say, game on.
So you think war between Israel and Iran is not unthinkable, possibly even probable in this situation?
Well, it's not unthinkable. Iran started this. Iran caused Hamas, or at least acquiesced in Hamas, killing Israeli civilians in a barbaric way. No democratic country in the world would react any differently than the way Israel is about to react. And if that starts up the escalation ladder, let's put the responsibility squarely where it lies, and that's with the mullahs in Tehran.
And how bloody, how damaging do you think an assault on Gaza is going to be?
You know, I think it could be bad. I think that's why the Israelis said to the people in northeastern Gaza to get out. Look, this problem's been festering for decades. It's not Israel's problem. These are people who were under Egyptian sovereignty until 1967. The Arab world for decades made the Palestinian people the tip of the spear, and now they don't want to have anything to do with it. It's a tragedy for the Palestinian people. I think for their own security and for their own economic well-being, they need to be integrated into a real national economy, which will never come from a hypothetical Palestinian state. I think Egypt should reassume sovereignty over the Gaza Strip, and I think the Gulf Arab countries should open their checkbooks to see what they can do to give the Palestinian people a decent living. I think they deserve that.
John Bolton, Ambassador Bolton, thanks very much for